Fires. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. It is Sturch, it is Gooch, it is Nick behind the glass, Madison Palumbo also behind the other farther glass, and there is no actual glass. But anyway, so welcome to the show. We are also chopping it up from the Cabinet Creation Sports Desk, and there's a lot going on. But if you want to support Chop Sports, you can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/Chop Sports, $3, $5, $10 increments. We appreciate you guys as always. And we're going to be working on some extra content. We actually had a little bit of a very brief meeting as far as social media goes right before this. So there's going to be new stuff coming for the Dynasty members, and also the playoff team and the lottery picks will still be getting your discounts for the merchandise. I know we're going to have to revamp some merchandise, Chris. I think there's it's time. Has that guy ever got back to you on the no?
He has not. So I actually reached out to somebody different. So we'll talk about that after.
Cool. All right. So lots to cover today, but of course we start today with what we're calling Gooch's Rundown. Gooch, there is sports. There is plenty of stuff.
There's a ton of stuff going on around Major League Baseball. So there's news came out yesterday or overnight that Major League Baseball wants robot umps by 2024, and they plan on expanding to 32 teams. Over in LA, Shohei pitches another gem, striking out 11, and there's rumors going around now that he's kind of closing the gap in the MVP race with Aaron Judge. Look, it's way too early. We haven't even hit All-Star break yet. As of now, there's really no competition. There was a dust-up in the Jays and Red Sox game yesterday. It was on the heels of an emotional win for the Blue Jays where Vlad hits the walk-off, and he announced that it's his house, and the next day things boiled over. Jazz Chisholm, the starting second baseman for the Marlins in the National League All-Star team, is out now with a back injury on the 10-day IL. They have new news in the Mets land. Was it Max Scherzer made his rehab appearance yesterday? He got touched up a little bit, but all well, all is good.
I think he went like 4 innings.
They will probably have Scherzer back by midweek next week. And just so we can be clear, the Mets have the second best record in the National League since Max went down. And there was all the talk about what were they going to do. Well, they did fine. And in some feel-good news in Major League Baseball, former number 1 pick overall in 2014, Mark Appel, I think I got the name right, made his Major League debut yesterday. And the interesting thing about this is he's the first pick overall, so 9 years later making his Major League debut, but he also retired in 2019. So he made his way back, and after 9 years, long, hard road, he finally gets a Major League appearance, striking out. I think he got 2 strikeouts in the scoreless ninth, but they lost anyway. And then the Freddie Freeman saga, details emerge on that, and he obviously fired his agent, but it's apparent that he now didn't hear about the Braves' final offer.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Would have gotten more money from Atlanta after taxes. So tough situation for Freddie Freeman. We got in the NBA, DeJounte Murray gets traded to the Hawks for 3 first-rounders and Danilo Gallinari.
I didn't even know he's still playing, by the way, Gallinari.
Yeah, he's definitely kicking, but he's who he is. He's at this point, I think it's just making the contracts work. Bradley Beal declines his option. James Harden declines his option. We'll get a little further into that a little bit later. And Miles Bridges, he's been in the news more recently than not with the Hornets declining to give him the max deal, and he was about to test free agency. Now he's been arrested for domestic violence. So say goodbye to your max contract, and I'm curious to see how the NBA is going to handle the domestic violence situation, because we know that's been a hot button issue around Major League Baseball and the NFL. So speaking of the NFL and hot button issues, Deshaun Watson news is emerging now. They're on the 3rd day of his hearings. And I think on McAfee's show yesterday, he had a reaction to the news that Deshaun Watson might only get a 6 to 8 game suspension when it's all said and done. I'm not sure what to believe here, because we've heard conflicting reports. Dave yesterday talked about 144 game suspension. Now it's 6 to 8. So see if we could fall somewhere in the middle, like 1 year. Dan Snyder has yet to accept a subpoena to to the U.S. House Oversight Committee, and the Oversight Committee is saying that they will not be deterred. But Dan Snyder obviously is skipping town, and by the town I mean the country.
I think he's in the Bahamas.
We're talking about court here, Dan. Get to court. You're gonna get a warrant. NFL has hired its first executive fully dedicated to. You ready for this?
No.
What do you think they're fully dedicated to?
Domestic violence,
sports betting. All right, so sports betting,
bong.
something that may or may not lead to a domestic violence situation if you're
if
you're losing your bank account. And keeping it in the MMA world here, or moving on to the MMA world here, UFC 276 is this weekend. It's a decent card, pay-per-view with all the New Zealanders. We got Israel Adesanya against Jared Cannonier. You have Max Holloway against Alex Volkanovski. And you got the Sugar Show, baby. The Sugar Show returns against Pedro Munoz. So that's an interesting card. Be on the lookout for that Saturday night. We'll talk about that more on Friday. Dave?
All right.
What do we got?
That's it. All right. That sounds like a plan to me. It sounds like a wonderful day in sports as we drop phones and we're doing all that stuff, but a good rundown. Lots of things to talk about. I definitely want to circle back to a couple of these. First and foremost, the robot umpires. Is that?
Yeah.
So they want that by what? 2024?
2024, but
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be fully implemented. They want to obviously experiment with these things. They've been doing it in minor league games.
I was actually working for the Somerset Patriots at the time of their testing of the extraterrestrials from the top deck taking strikes and ball counts. And what they do is they line up this thing on the top of the roof and it shoots down. So they have a strike zone. They have like actually experimented with it. But again, I'm all for making the correct calls. That's why we implemented replay, everybody. I don't know if anybody realized that there's replay in basically every sport now. So you don't need this extraterrestrial. I mean, it's not ET, but this extra stuff when it comes to robot umpires. You do need the element of like
the human
error.
element.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's
just
enough.
imagine
I think
just
there's
like
enough human
standing
error
up there and there's nobody
There's
else
enough
up
human
there.
errors in the game itself. I don't think that we really need to incorporate. I think the most important thing in this whole scenario is getting it right. There's a lot of umpires, I believe, that try to take the game and make it about themselves. I'm not going to sit here and name
Like Enrico
names
Palazzo.
Well,
bastard.
There's been tons of them. The
Angel
Joe
Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez, exactly. So
He should have
to take that out of it. I think the game should be about the players. Sometimes there's a good ump, and you need it because of the ejections and that. There's going to be out calls at first base. Like the umps will still be on the field.
So you want are they looking? Do you think for more balls and strikes?
Balls
type
and
thing?
strikes, yeah.
Okay.
With balls and strikes, I think it's
a common. It's a common area.
Did you see the other day with Aaron Judge? There's been games this year where there's been like 40% misses on balls and strikes. It's got to go. So I'm okay with it. If it works better, I'm okay with it.
Okay, I'm with it. I mean, look, I don't think it's necessary. The expansion stuff was a little bit more on my. I'm assuming Vegas would be one of the premier destinations.
I'm not sure
Vegas keeps adding things.
Vegas is definitely in the mix for a team. I think they're going to be the next city to get a team pretty much in any sport. I think you'll see one in the NBA as well.
I think so too.
There's a strong chance that both teams from the Bay Area, meaning the Kings are kind of the Bay Area, Northern California, and then the A's are going to move to Vegas. So I don't know if the expansion team is going to be
where would you guess?
The Vegas destination. I haven't even really thought too much about that.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like big cities that are so big that a second team would be welcomed, meaning there's only one baseball team in Texas. There's the Texas Rangers, and then like maybe you can have the Dallas something, or like states big enough to hold two teams. Like there's Tampa Bay, and then there's the Miami,
Marlins,
right?
But none of those teams sell. So
I understand that, but I'm saying like there's big enough states. New York's got two. Philadelphia is not real. I don't consider them a big market.
The Washington D.C. market has two with the Nationals and the Orioles. Like there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of
right. So that's what I'm saying.
On the East Coast, but when you go further west, they don't care, or they're not.
Like the Wyoming Wonkas. I don't know.
Yeah, even the Royals, like the Cardinals, they sell well. There's two teams in Missouri. Who would have thought?
Because Kansas City's not in Kansas.
It's not.
Who would have thought that?
But yeah, I'm not sure about the other two destinations. But more importantly,
oh, Jesus Christ, the Houston Astros. I drew a blank there. That's why sometimes I peek.
More importantly, they're going to have to
I've written them off the face of
reshuffle some divisions, because if there's 32 teams, it's going to have to be 4 divisions most likely.
They would do the NFL.
Yeah. So
they should just take the bottom feeders of every division and
real
throw it in a big division.
That's the real conversation. Every single division right now would have to lose a team. You know, the
True.
AL East would be what? It would be the AL East losing what? Probably Toronto? Maybe not, because they're East Coast. I think it would be hard. They would have to go south, so they would probably lose the Rays.
Bring back the Expos.
Right? So it would probably be the Rays would go.
I mean, you mean like to leave.
And then it would be the American League South, and it would be like the Rays. I don't even know who the fuck else they would put. Maybe the Rangers.
Well, who do you guys think in the comments as far as like what destinations do you think? I'm looking right now. AJ says Vegas and Seattle for the NBA, but here's Nashville and Vegas for predictions for the NBA. Dude, Nashville is an absolute eyewear destination. Like that is.
I feel like Nashville now
good.
that Nashville's mentioned, any sport that Nashville right now is one of those cities that I think could definitely take on a major league franchise in all sports. So that's one. Yeah,
Nashville's definitely in the running.
Major League Baseball in Nashville, and it's a perfect fit because I just talked about they're going to have to create the South.
And they caught up. And Nashville caught up very quickly. Nick, you can attest to this. The Predators fans are really good. Like when they brought in the Nashville Predators around for hockey, that picked up quick. So they're definitely, and obviously they got the Titans down there. So Nashville, very good call, AJ. I definitely like that one. But again, I would assume if teams don't move to Vegas, which again, the A's have been rumored to do it. There has been rumors that people will move. If not, Vegas is a primo location. They got enough desert out there to build 3 stadiums. Okay, so that can happen.
So we got it down. Vegas and Nashville. There's another city that's probably at large.
And ready for this? A nod comes in. Nashville is legal for sports betting. So like that's another big contributor. Will these states be in the running? Vegas is its own entity. We all know what Vegas does, but like those are the big things that I can assume that would be a draw.
Scoop is dropping a point in here about the Rays already want to move to Montreal. That could be a possibility that Montreal gets a team back
where there are no Stingrays.
The way the Browns got Cleveland got the Browns back after moving to Baltimore. But I think that the MLB poured cold water on the Rays going to Montreal. That's not happening because they were trying to do some split thing. It wasn't going to work. So maybe Montreal is in the mix.
What about the Carolinas?
Or another Canadian city, maybe the Carolinas. That's
they don't
not
have
bad.
one, right?
They don't have one.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think they do. But again, you have to, when you look at things like this, you have to consider what's there. And like again, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin is just the Packers, really. I mean,
but Milwaukee,
the Brew Crew there.
They definitely care a lot about the Brewers.
And the Bucks. So I guess that's a really good. It's not to me, and I'm not going to start this argument, but like to me, I don't feel like there's anything to do in Wisconsin.
So I wonder if it's a relevant factor when Anon keeps on dropping in about North Carolina shunned sports betting. What about South Carolina?
Myrtle Beach.
So if it's Carolina,
Maulers.
then they could play technically in South Carolina, and it wouldn't matter. But I think the destination would be North Carolina. For financial reasons.
Scoop's asking the question: when is the last time the MLB even expanded? It wasn't the Rays, right? The Rays,
the Rockies, and the
no. The Rays came after. It was the Rays and the Diamondbacks came simultaneously.
Yeah, no,
I think that's the last time.
Was it the?
What about the Nationals?
And the Nationals, but the Nationals moved from Montreal. They didn't expand.
So that was okay. You're right. So I guess the last one was the Rays and the Diamondbacks.
When was the Rockies? That was.
I mean, think about it like this.
It was definitely in my life.
They had a great team, like with the Larry Walkers of the world. All right, go ahead. Madison's got it. Wait, hold on. Madison, go ahead.
They added one new team, which was the Rays for the AL, and the NL was the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and that was the last time.
Nick, could you find out when the Rockies were, just for my own
1997?
My own brain.
Casey Hammond says, I'm living 15 miles from Portland, and I got to say MLB to Portland is a thing here for sure. There was a push a few years back to get the A's, as I recall. So Portland, I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm with it. Like
I'm not. I
don't care where they go.
I have no skin in the game. I'm not going to really care. I don't care much about West Coast baseball now because it's on so late. It's not that I don't care, but I just don't get to watch much of it. So
unless the Yankees are on the West Coast,
I feel like they're going to try and stick on the East Coast. If they're going to give one to Vegas, it's going to be hard. That time zone's rough.
I agree.
So the Rockies began play as an expansion team for the 1993 season.
So
that's pretty good though. It's It's pretty close because when did the Rays come out? That was like
98.
98. So 5 years. So they were cranking them in the 90s, and then we just forgot about expansion for the rest of time. So, I mean, whatever. We'll see. I guess we'll see what they do or where they go, but they want it done. They want the robot umps. All that's fair and love it, whatever. Before we get to the NBA, because I definitely want to dive into that because free agency starts tonight, I do want to say that the Chop Sports Daily is being brought to you in part by our good friend Michael Fusco, ladies and gentlemen, and the Fusco Insurance Agency. Now, are you guys worried that you're going to run out of money in retirement or how you'll pay for long-term health care? Will your family be okay? Well, it's time to start worrying, start planning a comprehensive retirement plan. Gives you security and greater control over your money. Michael Fusco can help. As president of the Fusco Insurance Agency, Michael will work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry a little bit less right now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. That's 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. And I do want to mention and add that you can now start offering your customers some financing. If they have a 540 FICO score or above, they can get stuff as far as like different things out of pocket expenses, whether it be insurance deductibles, tires for your car, accessories, jewelry, everything, retainers, defense costs. I mean, when you have to pay for defense like Deshaun Watson does, you know, you can get it at $300. Go to prestigetaxfinancing.com for that information as well. So shout out to Fusco. You guys keep building and building and building, and we love to see it. So Gooch has something from Manscaped.
I do. So head on over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CHOPSPORTS. You receive 20% off your entire order, free shipping worldwide. Right now, the features are the Platinum Package 4.0. It's got everything that Manscaped has to offer, essentially. It's got the Lawnmower 4.0 with the 400K LED light used to light up the dark underbelly of man and that taint jungle you got going on.
Nice.
It comes equipped with the Lawnmower. I already said that. It's the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and then it's got the porcelain blade. It's got everything that you need to reduce the risk of nicks and cuts, the crop exfoliator, the crop shave gel, the razor 2.0, all the things you need, the boxer shorts, the t-shirt. Head on over to Manscaped. Use the promo code CHOPSPORTS.
My balls was hot.
Perfect.
What was it?
My balls is hot.
They
I finally learned how to do drops, ladies and gentlemen.
They used to be.
My balls used to be hot, but now I have this. So I'm going to be going nuts with these drops, by the way. Maybe not today, but as we go. I finally figured out how to do it, so that's right away. So now moving on over to the NBA, National Basketball Association. We got ourselves free agency starting tonight, baby. Like that's we're right into the mix of things. The offseason waits for no man or woman. It is going down tonight. 6:00 is when they can start. You know, it's funny. I think they can't sign contracts until July 7th. So this is basically their tampering period, just like the NFL. So
and there has been people that have walked back on major offers. I don't have any precedent in my head right now, but the tampering period, you know, when they agree to deals, they can back out.
Okay.
What do you got? Breaking news?
There's a Facebook user that came in with a Brooklyn, and then it said 8-2 Nets. Let's go. Maybe he wants it. Is there a wish list? If that just happened, I don't even know what to say or do, but I don't think it happened. I'll look it up. Sorry. I'm sorry.
8-2.
8-2 the Nets.
Oh, who cares?
I mean, that would be big, no? A little bit. I'm not getting any update over here. Maybe it's just I don't know.
A rumor,
or maybe something that somebody like somebody's wish list. Have you?
Yeah, that has not happened yet.
Yeah, I can't see that. But anyway, yesterday a couple things happened. You mentioned. Did you mention Harden already?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
James Harden. Well, I didn't mention it. Now I mentioned it in the rundown.
Oh, okay. Mention it now. Then.
Yeah. So James Harden declines his option, and I think it's crazy that he's doing it, but I think maybe he's starting to realize that to win in the NBA, or at least in his case, he's going to have to take a little bit less money and make things a little easier for Philly to sign some other players because they don't have what it takes right now. There's other news out of Philly right now is that they're trying to trade Tobias Harris before free agency opens. So there could be a Tobias Harris move made today, which maybe they could get Jimmy Butler back.
What's his cap hit? That's got to be up there, right?
I mean, he's making decent money. I think he's in the 20-something million range a year, but that's fairly normal for the guy that's putting up his numbers. It's not overpay at all.
The big trade was Murray yesterday. I just don't understand, I guess, a little bit because of the fact that clearly the Knicks killer himself, Trae Young, is already sitting pretty in Atlanta. Now you're adding another one. I mean, this makes sense to you?
I mean, I feel like they're both fringe. Well, I think Murray is a more of a true point, but I guess that could be argued. I'm not too sure. Trae Young does have decent assist totals, but he's a really ball dominant point guard. Same thing with Murray. So how they're going to work together, I wonder who's going to play the two. If it's my guess, it's going to be Trae Young because he's just a much better shooter. But at the same time, it might take away from his game. He's the guy in Atlanta now. Murray's got to go there and fit in. I don't know how they're going to play that out.
Clearly, they made this move with a plan. You know what I mean? Like, if they were going to acquire somebody as good as Murray, you would think that they have some kind of mentality of something.
All I've been hearing was that they're trying to trade John Collins, and as of right now, their roster is pretty loaded if they keep him. I don't know if it's a financial thing and what their their salary looks like, salary cap looks like, but I just don't see them moving off of Collins now because I think they're I wouldn't say a legit contender, but they're going to make real noise in the East if they keep the roster as it is right now.
Okay. The Bradley Beal move. Do you think what do you think that the inkling there is? Obviously he opted out of his player option.
Yeah.
Is he a sign and trade guy? Is he a sign and trade guy?
Candidate. I think if anything, maybe he's using this as leverage. There could be a couple options. One, the reason why he's a sign and trade candidate is because the only team that could offer him that max deal at a 5th year is the team he's playing for. So he could go somewhere else for 4 years on the open market, no problem. But typically when you get a guy that is at this caliber and he's sought after, though there will be a sign and trade situation so we can get to 5th year. I think it works out perfect if he goes to the Lakers. I said it yesterday, and they could match up some other player, any $10 million player. Or if Beal signs the sign and trade, it'll be a $45 million contract, and the contracts will line up. It's a win-win. Russ gets to go back to Washington, where I think that the fans really like him. If you look at the second half of the season that he was there, he killed it, right? He put up MVP numbers. Did he win MVP? No, right? I should know this because it's 2 years ago, but I don't. Nonetheless, I think it will work out great. Other options for Beal would be to just re-sign and stay in Washington and keep the max deal. But I don't see that happening. I think the sign and trade is imminent.
Spurs fan coming in. That's the Dominican destroyer, Mr. Vargas. Spurs are in rebuild with 3 first-round picks. You have to like it on the Spurs end too. So are they on? I mean, I guess this is the whole post-Pop, post-Popovich, era.
Is he gone though?
Pop?
Yeah.
I thought he retired.
No, I think he walked
Jesus
back.
Christ. He's like 106 years old.
His plans were to retire, and then he's like, Do
you really think a coach of his caliber wants to be involved in a rebuild at this time? Half the guys in the NFL, that's the reason they retired. Bill Parcells walked away and said, fuck this, I'm done.
There's a couple things at play here. When you say,
does he
want to, I don't know, maybe he just wants to be around basketball. He's been around the game his entire life, and he's getting paid pretty well to conduct this rebuild or to be the captain of this ship. So yeah, I think he's just okay with it. He's had plenty of success. I understand, when you have that much success, maybe you don't want to be a part of something that sucks, but how much is he getting paid? It's probably the highest paid coach in the NBA.
Yes.
So
interesting point from Kyle here. The Hawks' first-round picks that they traded away to the Spurs are unprotected.
Yeah, but when you have an unprotected pick,
does it really matter when those guys are going to finish in the upper echelon of the East?
I don't know where they're going to finish because I don't know what they're going to do with Collins. But you would have to imagine that they're at least going to be out of the lottery.
Well, I was going to say the rule is if you don't make the playoffs, you're in the lottery, right? That's how it works.
I'm not sure how
16
it works.
and 16 or
I'm not
whatever
sure how it works
14.
now with the playing games and the extra playoff.
They're not in the lottery. If they get to the playing game, they're out. Also, it's 10.
I'm just not sure what the rule is now since then. But yes, it used to be that.
The one thing I will say about the NBA free agency that I love is the proposed trades that people post all over Twitter.
Yeah, so, I think the trade for Ayton was ridiculous, by the way. No, New York Post went out there and said it was bad.
You're gonna get a kick out of this one.
Should I? Go ahead.
It's Russell Westbrook going to the Knicks for Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish,
and RJ Barrett,
Quentin Grimes.
Do it. Sign me up. Are you kidding? One more time with the Knicks names?
It's Fournier, Rose, Reddish.
Fournier?
Rose,
Goodbye.
Reddish,
Goodbye.
and
Goodbye.
the kid they just drafted.
Goodbye.
Grimes.
Goodbye.
0%
Russ,
chance.
come on down, brother.
0% chance that's happening.
I know, but shit, I would get rid of all 4 of those guys. I like Rose, though. I'm a big Rose guy. He's the oldest one.
They would still suck.
Then there's this other trade that I saw that involves the Lakers making a move with Westbrook again, and they'd acquire Buddy Hield and Mo Bamba, and Mo Bamba will be a sign-in trade for a contract of 4 years,
Wait,
$40 million.
Time out. Mo Bamba? Isn't that a rapper?
No, that's Sheck West, and
That's
Mo
a song.
Bamba is a song.
Yeah, bitch.
So,
I'm not cultured, ladies and gentlemen. Not cultured at all. Sorry.
So the Lakers would receive Buddy Hield, and they do a sign-in trade with the Magic for Mo Bamba on a 4-year, $40 million deal.
Isn't Mo Bamba when did this article come out? Because I'm pretty sure I read something that he doesn't have a team right now. I guess that means the sign-in trade thing.
Yeah,
but like
he's still technically, I think he's still technically a part of the Magic. But
why is sign-in trade for a guy that's basically no money? You understand what I'm saying? Like they could just sign him for no money themselves.
And then,
typically a sign-in trade is when you could get the max from the team you're on, and that's why they do it. So it's like a gift to the player. It's like, okay, here's your 5th year. Here's your extra money, because the only team that could do it would be that. So it just shows me that this person that wrote the article, based on the Russ trades that we're talking about, it's like no fucking way.
These are also just people putting in like scenarios into the trade. Yeah, it's not like a legitimate thing.
We saw the one yesterday. It was Derrick Rose, RJ Barrett, and
that was a little ridiculous.
And 2 first-round picks for who was it? De'Aaron Fox. Like he's a good player, but Jesus.
This trade is still going. So then it'd be Westbrook going to the Magic, and then it would be Jonathan Isaac going to the Pacers.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, none of those players are going to get it done for Westbrook.
Oh God. Scoop came in and said trade Westbrook for Randall, and then you could free up Randall's salary. Scoop. By the way, I did download a drop for every time you comment in. So I hope you enjoy that one. But anyway, so it's interesting. It all goes down tonight. And by the way, AJ, I did see your comment about how can you say goodbye to Rose. I when I was saying it, right, I was like, I don't know if I actually believe this, because I do love me some Derrick Rose. He
could go. Come on.
He's like a. What
are we talking about?
He's a locker room guy.
Stop. It's not even like he's like a longtime Knick. He's a. I like Derrick Rose too, but he could go in a heartbeat. AJ, no question about it.
I mean, I'd take that trade.
Of course,
I would too.
Everybody would take that trade, but except probably Kyle, and he's probably right. The Knicks wouldn't be a better team because of it. They would lose a lot of important players for the rotation, and then they would have just the New York media would annihilate Russ.
Bing bong.
All right. In any event, the NBA goes down tonight. We'll see who makes what deal. I did want to read one more rumor as far as the Jalen Brunson sweepstakes, which is apparently going to get way too crazy and crowded. So at what point will the Knicks bow out? That's what I want to know. Obviously, free agent Jalen Brunson is granting meetings with the Mavs, so obviously to stay home. The Knicks, the dark horse of the day is the Miami Heat. So, I mean, can you imagine Brunson down there with Jimmy Buckets? I kind of like that. I mean, as a Heat fan, I would like that, I guess.
That one kind of makes sense as well.
They got a superstar already. That's what I was trying to tell you guys, that like the Knicks don't have a superstar. We thought we had a superstar in the making with Julius Randle, but that kind of just went, goodbye. And it just like that went really up in smoke, literally. Like nobody thinks that Julius Randle can all of a sudden, maybe I'm wrong. And the Knicks fans out there could chime in. Do you guys, Randle is the star of this team? Like, is he the superstar that when you get all the other teams with superstars, and I'm talking with the Bulls with DeRozan, and then you got the Heat with buckets, and you got the Lakers with LeBron and Westbrook, and you got Milwaukee with Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? You got all these guys, right? The Knicks don't have a star right now. I don't think. They might have a star in the making, according to Kyle. RJ Barrett could maybe be the guy, but like Randall's stock went soaring through the roof, and then it came crashing down very hard. And I think it was maybe because of the laziness and the bully mentality with the media. I don't know. I just don't believe in anything. Anyway, my brother, by the way, I have to say this. My brother coming in. There is an open house in Roselle Park, New Jersey. He said, spread the word. So my brother is selling his house. Dang. Are you all right over there? That cough you might want to get checked for other extracurriculars. I don't know, because that cough
Dr.
is,
Dave, I got the call from you, so whatever you had, you passed it to me.
But it's gone.
I know, but I got it at the tail end of yours, and now I'm hopefully at the tail end of mine.
Anyway,
But no, I'm not. Stop. I'm not going to the doctor.
there is
I'll be out a week. Fine, Dave. I'll go to the doctor.
Yeah, no. Because then you're out for 4 days and this, that, and the third. You come back and it's not a good situation, and then you just don't come back. so that's that. But open house for my brother selling his house. So if you want to go to New Jersey and spend all sorts of money on high tax rates, this is the way to do it. His house is great though, and his new house. My God, the parties we're gonna throw there for Chop Sports. By the way, that's happening, Danny. Sorry, but anyway. So that is the NBA. Let's see what happens tonight. In fact, let's do the draft there. No, you won't be there yet. We'll do the draft at Dad's as usual. NFL. So I got to get back to the Watson stuff before we get into fantasy football. You can leave this open. That's fine because it does pertain to some fantasy stuff.
Yeah, it'll start getting
It'll all
the
tie in.
comments. It'll start getting the comments going.
Yeah,
so
it'll tie
basically,
in.
what we're gonna do here, you could start thinking up some things you want to ask your fantasy expert.
It isn't up.
And Dave. You could ask Dave too if you like.
I know my football. So, I mean, was your team ranked number 1 in defense in your little book over there? I don't think so. But before
what
we
the
get
fuck
into
does that have to do? First of all, you want to get me going.
No, I do want to get you going. That's the name of the game. But first and foremost, Watson stuff.
Fucking garbage.
The Watson stuff is
Trash.
continuing today. The hearing keeps happening. We'll find out as we get closer. Baker Mayfield literally one step out the door. So again, that all stuff's going to kind of boil over. That will impact your fantasy stuff because let's be honest, all the Browns receivers are impacted by whatever happens with Watson. And yesterday, the rumors were that Watson's suspension could only dumb down to 6 to 8 games, which if that happens, if you thought I've ever lost or blew a gasket about the Knicks, wait until the Watson stuff comes out that he's only going to get suspended the same amount of games as Ezekiel Elliott when Ezekiel Elliott did nothing wrong.
They're going to be like,
I love it.
It's going to be an 18-game suspension or something like 24-game suspension. They're going to be like, but we're going to knock off that season he missed last year. If you only knew about the biggest explosion that we've had in this room was about Deshaun Watson.
It was. That's one of Mike Harris's favorite moments. He actually always repeats that scene as soon as I see him every time. So it's one of the greater moments and one of the finer memories here at the Chop Sports Daily. We go live every day, 11 o'clock, right here on YouTube. And then, of course, the Daniel Snyder stuff that you mentioned, I have to touch on that. The fact that if this was anybody else, like if it was me, you, Madison, Nick, and there was a subpoena dished out to us for something wrong, they would be banging on our door. Like, come on, let's go. But because you're Daniel Snyder, you can literally kick your feet up on the beach and just drink your mojitos and never come back. Like, what is the
Daniel
deal?
Snyder, his lawyer was responding to it, and his lawyer, they sent the electric subpoena because it's 2022, and that's how things are done now. So you don't have to actually serve somebody.
Do you think he got it as like a text alert?
Subpoena unless you can't find them, and you only are really allowed to do it supposedly at their home or their workplace. This is what I was reading today. I mean, I think that's.
You just said it was electric.
I know, but what I'm saying is if they can't get a hold of him, it's standard operating procedure to when you get subpoenaed, you fucking go. In Daniel Snyder's case,
that's law.
In Daniel Snyder's case, he was like the statement that was released by his attorney was that, well, we have plans on attending the court proceedings, but they only gave us 1 day. And it's like, bro, this is fucking Congress. What do you want them to give you a rain date so you could go to the Bahamas?
In the event your flight or there's cloudy in the Bahamas, don't worry. We'll get you the next time you're around the area of Congress.
And the fact that Roger Goodell went and talked shit, it was like, that was all fluff too. Like he was going there to fall on the sword. It wasn't like he was like, oh, Daniel Snyder's this. That's all part of the plan. The NFL has been hiding this for just as long. That's why they're there as well. It's not like Goodell is there just.
Well, he's got to answer questions about Portnoy too.
Against Snyder, he's kind of defending himself in this situation.
Well, because the Shield looks horrible right now with all this stuff, and the fact that he's still in power in Washington, that's awful.
I want to see when they finally announce whatever this proceedings happen, and then they announce all right, it's too almost like they do with major politicians or the Ghislaine Maxwell, not to go there. But
who?
You don't know who Ghislaine Maxwell is?
No. What?
Anyway, we'll move past that. We'll talk
Wait.
about that off air.
No, I mean, am I missing something?
Yeah, she's the one that was married to Epstein, and that whole debacle.
Okay.
Where they like won't let the court proceedings public because it's too detrimental to the people that are in the. It's too much shock value for the public to be able to handle it. They're going to kind of rule the same thing with this in the NFL. Mark my words. You're not going to get all these things released, I don't think.
Horrible.
And if that is the case, then you're going to see how real big money works. But we'll see. Gruden's going to fucking fight this till tooth and nail.
Gruden's going to get paid.
There's so many layers
handsomely
to this. And over the next couple of years, we should be seeing details emerge, but I don't have the confidence that we will.
Okay. But we saw plenty of details about Gruden's emails. But we won't see anything about what Daniel Snyder's got going on, which we already kind of know. It's not new news. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of know that he's pimping out his cheerleaders. We kind of know that he's a piece of shit human being. This is all not like we all know this already. So it's not like this is breaking news that we're coming from above. I can't believe Snyder did this. Like, it's been this way the entire time he's been in office, bro. So this is not new news. But what is news is fantasy football talk, because that's what I would rather talk about rather than this punk ass who decides he wants to sip on his drink in the Bahamas rather than go to Congress. Anyway, what do you got there? Your little magazine, Ski. What are we reading? Is all right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, you've read them all. Where does this fantasy magazine rank in your Gooch scale?
I like the magazine.
What's it called?
This
Give
is
it some press.
The Lindy's Sports Fantasy Football 2022.
And it looks like our boy Jonathan Taylor's on the cover.
Taylor and
who's the guy on the top right?
Josh Allen.
Oh, well, he might be good.
And Jamar Chase.
And Jamar Chase might be good too.
I like the magazine. I get this every single year. It's not necessarily because it gives great information. I am information. I know most of it anyway, but it does a really good job of kind of putting everything together. So when you're doing a draft or you're taking a shit, you're able to read a fantasy magazine. Do we read magazines on the shitter, or is that
that's a phone thing now? It's a thing of the past, I think.
I feel like
papers on the bowl.
I feel like both are gross.
Why?
Right? I don't know. Like when you're taking a shit, you're holding something that you're
not
using
taking
all
a shit
day.
on your phone. Like,
man, I don't know. I mean, everyone watching does it, and everyone in the room does it. So it's like everyone's on their phone at all times. Nonetheless, speaking of shit, these defensive rankings are shit, and I don't want to sit here and spend the entire fucking second half of the episode.
So this magazine is dynamite.
Talking about
it's great, but
defensive
until
rankings,
they talk about his Green Bay Packers shitty defense,
it's not only that. It's shit because of other things as well, which I'm trying to get to it. If I could ever fucking get past the kickers. Okay, there we go. So we'll kind of incorporate this. We'll kind of incorporate this. Like, I'm going to go on my little rant about why I don't think this magazine has good rankings for defense, but we'll kind of incorporate it as like a defensive, how we feel about actual defenses in the NFL.
Sure.
It's nobody gives a shit about fantasy defenses. Let's be honest.
I mean, that's not true, because in my archaic league, we start at 20 points, not 10.
Nonetheless, that's bad, but
it's bad. It's bad.
We're just going to talk about where we think the defense is, like who's going to be the best defenses in football this year and how it translates to fantasy football.
Would you be able to adjust
using this as a benchmark? Adjust what?
Like, if I were you're obviously like fantasy guru, right? And your fantasy, you know everything. Would you be able to adjust to a league has the rules of standard scoring?
When you say standard scoring, you mean like the standard scoring in 1992?
Whenever.
Or like
my standard scoring now. 20-point defenses, non-PPR, standard.
20-point. If the defenses are like...
They start at 20 and they go down. Just like in the ESPN,
so
they start at 10.
20-point shutout. That's too much, I think.
They can score up to I've seen defenses in my league go up to 40-something. Because they've scored, they've picked balls off. All I'm asking you is would you be able to adjust?
Would I be able to adjust? Yes, I would not like it.
I don't think so.
I mean, what are we talking about? It's no different. It's like the defense is.
Then stop talking shit about it.
I'm saying the defenses are still the same thing. I just think it puts too much. Like if you have a defense going on Monday night and you're down and you're up 30 and you're going up against defense, like you should fucking win unless they really go nuts. Like 2 picks. If
you're up 30 going into a Monday night
and you play
against a defense of 20, then you'll be up 10 as soon as the ball's kicked off. Then you just gotta hope that they score a couple.
I understand how that works. Totally.
But I'm saying the ESPN ones and the Yahoo ones, you start with 10 and before you know it, you're at -3. And you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, you don't even the defenses are almost irrelevant in those Yahoo leagues and the ESPN leagues.
No, I feel like defenses score points. I think 18, 17 points is like a good day, really good day for a defense.
But that's what it winds up being in my league. Like a 17, 18 point is a good day, a great day.
I guarantee it's that's more the norm.
Okay.
If you're starting if you give up 2 touchdowns, you're probably at 10. You give up 14 points and you're at like 4-3.
It's rough.
Anyway,
Tough sledding.
nonetheless-
Oh yeah, Scoop, 6-point quarterbacks. Yes, thank you.
Crazy.
It's a touchdown, Gooch. It's a touchdown in the NFL. Why take it away from the guy who threw the fucking thing?
It's just crazy to me.
It's crazy.
It puts so then like all
It's
the
a
quarterbacks, it makes the
touchdown.
quarterbacks too valuable. They're already scoring the most points in
It's
the
a
league. At 4.
quarterback-driven league.
It's fantasy football.
And it's a quarterback-driven fantasy football. Like, you need a good quarterback.
I mean, you're sitting here and arguing logic that's pretty much taken on by the entirety of the world. And you're sitting here and saying that
pretty much taken on by the entirety of the
90% of fantasy football leagues, if not more. I'm being very like cautious with my prediction here or my assessment. 90% of fantasy football leagues is 4 points for a touchdown for a quarterback.
It's garbage. It's garbage.
So it's like your thought process now is that like it's crazy that I don't like it, but nobody.
No. It's not it. If the value is a touchdown, what they did, why should you diminish it for throwing the fucking thing? Like if a running back scores a touchdown, it is 6. So when a quarterback throws a touchdown, you take points away.
I'll explain why. And like what the reasoning is as to why is because you have to have like some type of closing the gap in terms of receivers' points and quarterbacks' points. So you could have value at receiver in the second round, first round. Whereas right now, if the quarterbacks were all getting 6 points, I guarantee if you look at the top scorers in the league, 20 of them are quarterbacks. You're having like shit quarterbacks that are scoring double the points of guys that are like really top 10 receivers.
I mean, we're talking about 2-point difference here. And the only reason why I emphasize this is because you're taking the points away.
I know.
That's the only reason why I'm doing that.
I'm not doing it. It's like that's pretty much standard. They did it.
No,
they did it.
Okay, go ahead with their defensive stuff.
All right. So, I mean, I just think it's crazy that the Packers are ranked all the way down at 20. And they have the fucking Patriots at 3. So right there.
Would you like to announce to the
Throw it
masses
away.
who the number 1 defense is in that magazine, please?
I will. It's the Cowboys. That's good. That's fine.
And justifiably so. Their defense has got. What's that?
It doesn't matter
What doesn't matter?
that the Cowboys are ranked number 1.
It does in fantasy terms. Like I feel like the Cowboys are going to turn out in fantasy
I
this
think
year.
the Rams have a better defense than the Cowboys.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody
You're
thinks
testing me over
here,
there.
right? So
It's my job.
Yeah, it's not.
I would say that the Bills will probably be in the running for the number 1 defense. I think that Tampa Bay will be in the running for the number 1 defense. I think Dallas, the Rams, and the Packers.
Wrestling Rob is not here, by the way, Kyle. And if it was about Zeke, I was just going to say I refrained or restrict Nick from putting it up, but there it is, folks. Matthew Berry's new fantasy football rankings have Ezekiel Elliott all the way up to 27, the 27 like overall.
27 overall player and back into the 3rd round.
Okay, cool. You're wrong.
I mean,
I said late second, early third for Zeke, so that's not like it's not out of the realm. Like I'm not going to do what I did last year. If I have the 3rd overall pick, I'm not taking Zeke. Like,
no.
Last year I did, and I got to the championship.
I'm going to ask you again. Ready?
Well, here we go.
Zeke or Cam Akers?
Zeke. You asked me a question.
All right.
The only thing about that though is
I'll be on.
like Cam Akers clearly was not healthy in the playoffs
Shuddy.
and the Super Bowl, so that's the only thing.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
he wasn't-
he's
he
fine
wasn't
now, and
healthy all year.
he beast moded all over the playoffs. Rapid fire, give me 5 close, and I'll be completely bluntly honest with you as far as Zeke goes. So you already said Zeke, Cam Akers. I'm taking my boy Zeke.
Okay.
I will be completely dead honest. Swear to God, hand to God, swear on everything. I will be dead ass honest right now with my ranking of Zeke. Well, AJ,
Leonard,
if you spit out your coffee, please clean it up. If you're
Leonard
Kyle.
Fournette.
Zeke.
Whoa. Josh Jacobs.
Zeke. Keep going.
J.K. Dobbins.
Impossible to even rank because we don't know what he's going to do.
I'm
We had
asking
him
you-
high. We had
I'm
him high
asking you,
last year.
They're next to each other.
Are they next to each other in
But
that
I'm just
stupid
saying,
magazine?
I'm saying, like, they're it's your draft pick. It's a 3rd round. They're both there.
Zeke. Without question. Without question. Keep going.
Aaron Jones or Zeke?
Aaron Jones. I'm not a complete buffoon.
No, we all know.
And even if, and like I said, and
Okay,
I
good
think
one,
the
good one.
Dylan emergence, I still take
Good one.
Aaron
Antonio
Jones.
Gibson or Zeke?
Get the fuck out of here with that Gibson shit. Get Gibson all the way away. Get him away. You guys blew him for like 17 weeks
I
last
have
year.
yet to name a guy that I would take Zeke over. I've yet to name one. So that's what I'm doing here. Now we're getting into the territory where we could consider Zeke. but he's still
I
not
see
getting
a lion
considered.
somewhere in here. Like,
Well,
who is
DeAndre
it?
Swift, I'm 100% taking over Zeke, and you are too.
Yeah,
Don't
that
be
is a
foolish.
fact.
Don't be foolish.
Okay, all right. That actually makes it even better. Kyle coming in with a more logical question. Which running backs am I taking before Zeke? Okay.
Okay.
That's easy for me. That's easier for me, I would think. Give me the magazine. Give me the goddamn magazine.
I'm going to get you to a
Give me the
a
number
point
one guy,
where-
and I'll say I'll roll them off. That's easy.
Okay, Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Austin Eckler.
Yes.
Najee Harris.
Yes.
Dalvin Cook.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey.
You're pressing me with that one.
It's they're both not getting picked. So Chubb,
Chubb?
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Mixon. Yes.
Mixon's
Yes.
tough
Yeah.
on me,
Hard
man.
yes. Hard yes.
All right. I would say
Um,
that one's on my fringe list,
That's
but yes.
fucking crazy.
No, because Joe Mixon to me is a walking injury away from being not even relevant.
And he's been relevant.
He
Each
was
of the
relevant
last
for
two
one full
seasons when he's-
season last year.
How many games did Zeke have like 40 or less yards last year?
Zeke had a
consecutively?
fucking torn PCL the entire fucking season
So-
after he was the leading
So
rusher
for the
after 4
same
weeks.
reason, for the same reason why you won't take Mixon, you'll give Zeke the pass.
No, Zeke's
He got because he
because
still
still played.
but he got injured too.
But he still played.
But he still sucked because of the injury. He maybe shouldn't have played, right?
Agreed. He should have stopped playing.
So if he didn't play,
But he's hard-headed and he wants
so
to
if
play.
he didn't play and he missed 6 games last year, like he should have probably, then what would you say? That he was injured? And yeah, that you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like
Fine.
the same deal. Mixon, you just got to go on like the other stats. Mixon's right now way better fantasy player than Zeke. And there's no one else in Cincy that's going to cut into his.
Somebody said,
his
I
workload.
think it was AJ who said he would take a dead deer over Zeke. Keep
Yeah.
going, though, after Mixon.
All right, so
He also said he'd take Paxton Lynch over Zeke.
All right. You know,
Okay,
see, that's
Aaron
just
Jones, we
stupid
already
now.
know.
Fall
Jav-
off your stupid
Javonte
recliner.
Williams, we both know you're taking both Javonte Williams. DeAndre Swift, whether or not you will admit it, you would. Because like his
Fine. Because
once
they
you
don't
start-
because their
he
offense
is a
will
fucking-
rely
once you
Detroit.
start researching and their offensive line is really good.
their offense will be
and their
relying on their
coach-
running game to get
Their
going.
philosophy with their coach,
Yes.
all
Fine.
that.
All right,
It
fine. I'll
lends
call
to-
that too. So I don't even know how many you've rolled off, but go ahead.
12. Alvin Kamara.
6-game suspension looming.
Week 7, you have Kamara. You might not have Zeke by then.
I would probably still take Kamara.
True. Me too. Fournette, we already know you wouldn't.
I would not.
Now here's Zeke in way too high at 15. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, I feel like he's going to have a really good year. That offense can spread the ball around and they won't be able to stack the box. So that's why Josh Jacobs' numbers will be good. That one I'm calling a dead heat with Zeke and Josh Jacobs. That's a dead heat for me.
Okay,
But
so,
I agree that Jacobs is going to be an absolute
so
stud.
so third round, Josh Jacobs. You can't have a dead heat. It's your pick. You have now. It's
I'm
like now
taking-
you have 26 seconds, 25, 24.
I'm taking Zeke in that
All right,
fringe.
All right.
That's just me.
So David Montgomery, I know you're going to take Zeke.
I'm not on the Montgomery hype train like everybody else.
I mean, their Bears
it's
are really
the Bears, really. I mean, the
bad.
Bears
I've
are going to
been
stink
on Montgomery,
very bad.
but now all the usage and a bad offensive line, plus Justin Fields, I'm low on Montgomery this year. Elijah Mitchell,
Zeke, because with that,
I'm
well,
low- I'm low
yeah,
on a
no,
little-
I'm low on Mitchell because
I'm-
Atlanta's going to run that ball
Yeah.
a lot.
and James Conner.
Connor's a touchdown machine, but he's not a yards guy. So for that reason, I'm out. For that reason, I'm out on Connor.
Don't the Cardinals have another running back that's
I
also
don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they,
they
lost,
got rid- they got
lost
rid of Chase
Chase
Edmonds.
Edmonds.
Yeah.
But
Saquon.
they did have one more. Who?
Saquon.
Oh, stop.
All right,
Saquon
Cam
should be
Akers,
drafted.
we already heard about.
So they have Cam Akers ranked lower than Zeke on your the little magazine, right?
I love things like this.
But I'm saying that on this magazine they have
Yeah.
him. So everybody that you've been
That-
saying is ranked behind Zeke. Yes.
Preseason rankings, Dave. Yeah, there's none of these are gonna this is all gonna change. You know that, right?
Where
So-
is Etienne in that book, by the way? That's what the scoop was asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he's another one way too low. I would take Breece Hall over Zeke. I would take Travis Etienne. I'm taking AJ Dillon over Zeke. But not,
and you know what?
not in
Kyle's
the
coming
third
in.
round.
Kyle's coming in annoying the shit out of me right now because he's going to say Connor isn't a yards guy, as if Elliott is. Elliott had one bad year last year, and everybody's writing him off. I love it.
I wanna
I
check the
love
yards per
that
carry.
shit because you guys are going to be out of your fucking skulls in week 6 when you're like, holy shit, this
It's not
guy's
about
taking
that
back the
it's-
world on storm.
It's not that he's had one bad year. I'm not saying that
It's
he
been
even
a-
had
it's
a
been
bad
a
year.
slow
It's been a steady
decline,
decline.
but
And at his age, you have to assume that eventually the decline is going to be a cliff. At one point or another, it's
well,
going to happen.
it doesn't
happens to
help his
everybody.
cause. It doesn't help his cause that we have a very good backup running back. It doesn't help his fantasy stock. Tony Pollard's really good.
Average there.
So I'm not saying that.
I'm gonna always die on my Saquon Barkley hill.
Oh, yeah. Then you will rot there because that guy
That's
is
fine.
a piece of glass. And I don't care how many times they say, he's so healthy now. Great. Wait until
I'll rot
week 2
up
when he
there by
stubs his
myself.
fucking toe walking out of the hotel. He'll be out
Honestly,
for
bro,
7
All right,
weeks.
he's not Francisco Lindor. He didn't close his finger in a door.
I think you're
He
going
didn't
to
close
get
his finger in his Lindor.
I think you're going to get. I think you're going to get like equal
Even Madison
value,
like that one.
equal value / production that you get from Melvin Gordon that you get from Zeke. And I think Melvin Gordon goes 2 or 3 rounds later. I think
You're comparing Melvin Gordon right now to Zeke?
Yeah. I mean, based on what,
And I would say that's almost fair.
It is fair.
However, it's flip-flopped as far as the carries are concerned. Zeke will be getting the bulk, not the guy you just said. Why can't I?
well, so based on
Drawing a
last
blank
year's
here.
usage, I think that there is a chance that Melvin Gordon gets his carries cut into a little bit this year with the emergence of Javonte Williams. But maybe
No, I think
not.
Javonte Williams is the bell cow over there now.
They wouldn't have signed Melvin Gordon to make him.
It's a 1-year deal. It's not like
That's even more so.
no. That just goes to show you that they're going to weed him out. Like, but they still need him a little bit.
I'm saying over under on Melvin Gordon touches this year if he stays healthy.
I don't know what's a
I mean,
average touch.
last year, Zeke had 203 touches. I want to say, right? I just looked. So he had 237 attempts last year. Zeke did,
Zeke is that 237 will turn into
and Melvin Gordon had
210. I want to
Melvin
say
Gordon-
maybe 205.
and Melvin Gordon had 203,
That number's going to go down to 175. I think
but he had a better yards per carry average. Melvin,
that's
Gordon
fine.
did.
Zeke also had a 4.1 last year. What do you think? He's going to have more this year? Yes, I would say.
8 touchdowns to Zeke's 10. So look, they were pretty much
Well,
a very,
Zeke is a goal
very,
line
very
guy.
similar back. I think that you're expecting a bounce back from Zeke.
But when I say bounce back, here's what everybody's getting twisted. I'm not saying bounce back like he's going to lead the league in rushing. I'm saying that the guy is healthy now. He's got a very good backup running back in which now you're not going to be able to know which, like if they're both on the field at the same time. If Kellen Moore is not incompetent this year, he'll put both of those guys on the field at the same time. So now defenses are going to be like, well, it's 1st and 5 because of an offside or 1st and goal from the 6. They're definitely giving it to Zeke, right? And then you can have the wrinkle.
Yeah, but you're just
That's what I'm talking about. Like the bounce back is the fact that defenses are going to have to play him and not think that he's a fucking fullback like everybody else is talking
fair,
about.
but now in this forum right now, open fantasy football.
That's what
forum,
it says according to the graphic.
Keywords fantasy football, right? I'm not talking about what the defenses are going to have to do against the Cowboys scheme on the 6-yard line. I'm talking about when we're looking at the counting.
No, but that does play
when we're looking at the
a
counting stats.
part.
So if you're saying that Zeke is going to have a bounce back, but then simultaneously saying that he's probably going to have 30 less touches, to me, that means that he's going to regress no matter what.
But don't you think that those 30 less touches, no matter what, don't you think the touches that he does get are more effective? Is what I'm saying.
Well, you would think so, but then you're not factoring.
Well, that's my argument.
You're assuming that
they're going to be quality
that a guy
touches
that gets
over
the ball
too many.
200 times a year.
He can't do that no more.
Right?
That's just not a thing in the NFL.
Well,
Unless you're a fucking
if
rookie,
he
you're not
gets
getting that kind of touches.
If he gets
You
30
shouldn't.
less, he's going to have 200.
I still think he's over 200.
207, right? So to assume that he's not going to get nicked up and not going to have the same lingering
all do.
issues over the course of an NFL season, I think it's just not safe to expect that. I think with Melvin Gordon, you're going to get him. And the reason why I value him more, and it's because the numbers are so similar. One guy has crazy name value and Cowboys fans that boost him a little bit. No disrespect. I do the same shit to Packers players. And one guy is on the Broncos. He's going to put up very, very similar numbers, even if they both regress a little bit. And you're going to get him 2 rounds later.
But didn't that happen last year, though? Wasn't the emergence of Javonte Williams last year already happened?
Yeah, and with the emergence of Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon still carried the ball 200 times for 800-something yards and 8 touchdowns.
But what I'm telling you is
At a
that now that
4.5
number drops
yards.
dramatically this year, I think.
Why?
Because they know that what they got in Javonte. They saw it last
Yeah.
year. So the swap is happening. Just like most Cowboy fans or anybody who hates
Like
the
I
Cowboys
said,
think that the swap should happen. Tony Pollard should get 60%.
I would say at best, 60% to 40% for Javonte Williams in terms of handle
60-40 Javonte?
60-40 at best. So
That's I'm with that.
and
And it wasn't that case last year. That's a dramatic drop off.
it was like in the beginning of the season, it was like 55-45, and then it switched the other way. So it was like dead
You're
even.
proving my point. They
No,
realize what
but-
they got.
But my point is, it's like we don't know that. That's at best. This is speculative. So what if Javonte Williams loses 2 games and then Melvin Gordon is the starter, clear cut for 2?
Yeah, then he gets Wally pipped, and that's like
Well,
Clay
no,
Holmes
I
is the
just-
new
I just
closer
think
for the
that
Yankees.
your assessment that because they brought him back on a 1-year deal, because they know what they have in Javonte Williams, and they're going to give him the ball way more, I think that's incorrect. I think that because he's so valuable and he's young, and they know that Melvin Gordon is still good, he might be a full year away from them giving him the full reins. And even if they do get rid of Melvin Gordon, they'll probably draft him back. The way the NFL works
Speaking of NFL working, when you get brought back on a 1-year deal, that means that the confidence level is not through the roof for that guy. They're bringing him back because he's a scheme fit, because he's been there already, and he's probably better than any other option that was out there.
No, it means
they could have let him walk.
In this case, it means that he's a running back that's aging a little bit, right? And there wasn't a crazy big market for him, and he has a relationship with the team that he was with. So it was probably the best deal that he could get for a 1-year deal, and he's betting on himself one last time. He might re-sign again in a year,
Mm-hmm. Maybe. And maybe becomes like what's the clown that keeps signing 1-year deals? Javion Clowney?
Well, yeah, you're not going to give.
Oh,
You're not
I
going to
just
give a
called him a
running
clown,
back-
right?
You're not gonna, nobody was going
That
to
was
give Melvin
unintentional.
Gordon a multi-year deal to come in there and be what he is. It's like he is who he is. He's not getting paid like Zeke, so I think that has a lot to do with it.
Isn't that why
I
he
said that. I
left
said that last year.
the
What do you think
Chargers?
Zeke's gonna
People
get?
know that shit.
What do you think
that's
Zeke's
common
going to get
knowledge.
after this year? Because it's probably, unless he takes some
To
team-friendly deal,
me right now,
he's not going to get a multi-year deal after this year.
No. To me right now, like, and this is me as the Cowboy fan, me as the guy who covers the Cowboys in the media. Like, if Zeke don't perform this year, there's a very, very, very good chance that he's not a Cowboy next year, and that's a fact. But because of
I
that,
say even if he does perform, there's a chance.
he's still under contract. He's still under contract. So it's not like, here he is making this money, but we'll just get rid of him anyway. Like, no. Tony Pollard, however, is a free agent next year.
Yeah, the
So
NFL, they don't ever get rid of guys that are under contract in the NFL. Like, there's got to be a
You're missing my
loophole
point.
there.
You're missing my point. The reason why he's still there is because of his contract.
Yeah, but
Right. So the dead money is going to have to be a factor next year. If they really want to move on from Zeke, they could do that, but they're going to swallow not only their money, but their pride. Like that. You don't understand.
But,
Jerry Jones is the kind of guy that makes these deals, right? And he does not want to be proven wrong.
So-
That's why a lot of these
so
guys
my
stuck
point
around
is
for a lot
the
longer, like a
language-
Jalen Smith. He sucked at football,
the language
but
of
he
the
stood there.
contract, there's not any point down the line in the Zeke contract where it's like, okay, after this year,
It's
they can do it.
after this year.
So that's what I'm saying.
And that's why I
Even
said
if-
you don't have to
even if
worry
he
about it.
does, even if he does have a good year, they're going to maybe offer him a restructure, but I don't think that they're going to keep him after this year, even if he does do good, because it's a too high of a dollar value for the production that they're getting.
Zeke next year makes 10-9 next year. Okay. And then after that, so I'll just go to Zeke because I'm sure it's broke down here. Here we go. So Zeke, the contract was ridiculous. Everybody knows it. The cap number in 2022, this year, is 18.2.
What's it next
That's
year?
rough. 16.7. And then the year after that, 14. And the year after that, he's loaded up until there's no years less on this thing that is less than $14 million a year. So yes, if he does not perform, right, the dead cap money that they would smoke next year, because this year, if they were to cut him this year for whatever reason, the dead cap would be $30 million. Way too much, right? Next year drops all the way down to 11. The next year after that drops all the way down to 6. So that's what I'm saying. This year is the make or break year for Zeke, and that's where we're at. That's where the Cowboys are at right now with Ezekiel Elliott.
So they have to pay him $16 million next year if they keep him.
Next
14?
year's number, 2023, is 16.7. That's his cap number. That's rough. But again, the dead cap money comes all the way down. So therefore, they can go
So
to
they
Zeke
would save
and be
$7
like,
million. They would save $7 million in salary cap to cut Zeke.
they would save next year based off of all the finagles and all this. They would save 4.8. So that's not that big a deal to cut
that's
him.
$5 million.
Mm.
If it's my money. It's a
Casey
big
Hammond
deal.
coming in. My biggest fear in losing Zeke is fucking with the morale with Dak. And that's, again, that's just what I'm talking about. It's one of those intangible things to stay in Dallas. I like to believe Zeke makes the team-friendly deal at season's end. That could happen. That is Dallas in a nutshell. Whether it's good or not, that is
if
Dallas.
they're paying $15 million to keep Dak's morale high, then I think there's a leadership issue in Dallas. If that's the case, I don't think it is. That's crazy. they're paying Zeke to play football, not because he's Zeke's Dak's friend.
It took the Packers up to this year to dish off Devontae Adams, and he had a decent number on his contract.
Well, Devontae Adams was the best receiver in football. We're talking about Zeke being on the decline for the last 4 years, so I think there's a difference there.
Did you guys see though what a different NFC East running back said about his team yesterday?
Say again,
Saquon?
one more time.
No, it was Miles Sanders yesterday.
Oh God, he calls
Talking
shit
about-
an all-star team.
Talking about the Eagles being an all-star team.
Oh, Miles. And I'm not talking to my son right now. I'm talking to Miles Sanders. Okay, like Jesus H Christ, win a couple games first. This, you know what's funny? The Eagles did it again. They did it again when Mike Vick came on and they had a team. Something's up, and I'm not even looking yet. I will in a second. But when Mike Vick came to the Eagles and they had all these guys, right? They called it a dream team.
Vince Young.
Vince Young, dream team. And they won like 6 games that year. So please, by all stretch, Miles Sanders, keep barking up your own tree. Here we go. If Zeke underperforms, Dak isn't a child.
Nope.
Wait, no. Bro, Dak is going to make $50 million next year. We got to pay his friend 17. We got to pay his friend. Yes, they're friends. That's just the way it is.
So basically, now what does that make Dak's cap hit?
So Facebook
70 million.
Facebook user, you faceless asshole. I don't care who you are at this point. I hope it's not my dad. It definitely ain't my dad. Not drafting Zeke until at least the 5th or 6th round. He's no longer a top 15 running back.
Can I make my prediction on who this is? Ben.
No, because Ben usually knows better to fire off in YouTube. If this is the Danimal for whatever reason,
anyway,
whatever. So that's my Zeke talk for the day, because that shit always, why not get me all fired up?
We started this off by me talking,
we were talking
shit
about
the
defenses.
magazine and defenses, and the Packers shouldn't be ranked 20th. They have every starter returning, and they got 2 first-round picks added to their defense. They don't get it.
You're right. Then I don't understand that. Where was their defense ranked last year?
Pretty fucking good.
Oh, is that a ranking? So is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Pretty fucking good.
In what? In fantasy?
Overall.
Or in football?
Full
They had,
total
like,
defense.
The
The
third
Packers
best
are a
ranked
fucking-
defense.
What?
They were in like the top 3.
I mean, we're doing all the, oh my God.
Like, when we're talking about defensive rankings, there's so many different ways.
I just
you'll
said
read
total
like,
defense.
okay, team total defense. I
Yes.
have no idea. I'm being honest.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the defensive rankings, you see them all over the board. Total team defense, points allowed. I think they were 9th in points allowed. I feel like that's the most important stat, right?
At the end of the year last year, after week 7, last week of the season, the Packers were 15th.
So they're not 20th.
No, so again, justifiably not justifiably so. Would a magazine say that they lost? Well, they lost. What's this guy to the Bears, Vikings?
But Zadarius, he didn't play one. He played week 1, got hurt in the first half, and then didn't play until the playoff game. Jair Alexander got hurt in week 3 against Pittsburgh. Didn't play until the playoff game. So
who else did they lose?
they didn't lose anybody. They lost
So then what the
Zadarius
hell-
Smith. They got Jair back. They re-signed Devondre Campbell. They re-signed Russell Douglas. They added 2 first-round picks. Doesn't make sense. But
Oh, Chris is correct, by the way. So that Facebook user, that Facebook faceless asshole is Ben Wexler, who's talking about fantasy football. I think he should be banned from actually talking any kind of fantasy sports. But that's just me. Breaking news: Dak demands the Cowboys to sign his brother Tad to a $30 million consulting position with the team. Cowboys fans say the Jones family is selfish for not signing him already. I love Tad Prescott. I think he's a great guy. Not worth $30 million though. You want to put him on the books?
17,
Put him on the books.
17 with an $11 million cap hit. Not so bad.
Oh man. Kyle's coming in. Here's the most depressing part. Elliott would still be a Cowboy if we didn't pay him. He had 1 year left plus 2 franchise tags. So even if we didn't pay Zeke, he would still be with the team. That's not true. Actually, that's not true. Because if he signed in 2016 drafted, you're only getting 5. So 2021, he would be done.
No, you
And then 2 franchise tags. All right. So he would be on the team this year, and that's it. But that's the thing, bro.
That's what it's gonna be
welcome to
anyway.
the NFL where
That's what it's going to be anyway.
So you're going to pay the franchise tag? Oh.
You're going to Zeke's. And honestly, I
Did
wonder
you just
what.
completely write him off?
Yeah, he's
Put him in the grave.
still
How
with
about
us.
that?
Still with us.
A fantasy, that is.
Yeah.
Well, whatever, man.
Yeah, I'm not taking Zeke.
Okay, good.
He's off the board.
I'm glad you're not taking
I
Zeke.
can't wait. In fact, when Zeke gets picked, he's one of those guys where I'm like, fuck yeah. You know, when there's certain guys that I just know I'm not taking, and it allows me to potentially get the guy that I do want. Love it.
That's exactly how I feel every time I draft.
Fuck yeah, Saquon too.
Oh yeah,
so don't
Saquon.
feel-
Yeah, go
don't
nuts
feel
on Saquon
great.
in the top 5.
You know what?
Clown
I'll
show.
draft Saquon next year
Oh,
and prove all of
Christ.
you wrong.
when
Go
you
ahead.
say
Yeah.
prove, all of
Just
us or all of
wait,
everybody?
just
You're
wait.
the only one that you're going to prove wrong is
Here,
yourself.
this one's for you, by the way.
Stay off the damn
Nobody can-
weed.
Stay off the weed, bro. Stay off the weed. Stay off the damn weed because Saquon Barkley shouldn't be touched by anybody. That's that.
Zeke should.
Huh?
I feel like you could flip a coin on that.
Flip a coin on what? Don't
like-
you dare.
On who's
Don't
going to do
you
better this year.
Dare. I won $200 off your friend last year.
I don't give a fuck. That's last year.
I will do the same bet, homeboy. I know you're listening or watching. We'll do the same bet this year. All purpose. Give me Zeke over Barkley every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Get out of here. Even you don't believe that. You're just like, now it's like, oh, I got him. I got him. Here comes the fork.
back.
He's gonna poke the bear a little more. I got him.
Put it this way.
They're not
it doesn't
comparable.
matter. They're both off the fucking list. So that's why they're neck and neck. They could McCaffrey's on the list too, if you want to feel better about yourself.
I mean, McCaffrey's proven he could be great. It's just, he literally tears something in his body every single year.
Scoop's coming in saying, bet me. Etienne more fantasy points than Zeke.
I would fucking take that bet in a heartbeat.
Who the fuck
You won't.
is that guy?
You won't.
What?
You won't take the Etienne bet. I'll do that. $200.
No. I'm not talking to you anymore. You're already far gone.
I'll even take Brees Hall.
Etienne. I'm sorry?
I'll take Brees Hall.
Brees Hall to have more fantasy numbers.
in normal fucking leagues, not
No. What the?
not-
Normal.
not-
What the fuck
not
is
like-
normal?
not like
If anything,
No.
no. If anything, in my archaic league, he's not scoring more points. You're getting PPR and fucking points for breathing and shit like that with all your fucking
so we're gonna
rules.
take standard
Fuck outta here.
PPR,
Sure.
right? Whatever, like if you join an ESPN or a Yahoo league, whatever their standard PPR league is,
Okay.
whoever has more points, Brees Hall or Zeke, I'll bet that.
How much?
Whatever you want.
We'll talk off air.
Yeah.
But we will talk off air with Scoop as well because I'll take that bet. I will take that bet. Zeke, more fantasy points than Travis Etienne because the Jaguars decided to have 18 running backs on the fucking roster. That's why I say that. That's why I'll say that. And that's where I'm going to leave this one. That's where I'm going to leave this show because tomorrow is a feel-good Friday. Okay? Because I'm going to go out and I'm going to relax for a minute after this show.
I also will bet that Pollard has more touches than whoever the Jaguars backup is.
What?
I'll bet Tony Pollard has more touches this year than whoever the Jaguars backup is.
That's not like breaking news.
Yeah, but
I
you
told
just
you
said they have
Pollard's going to get more
So
yards.
like James Robinson, no, I understand, but you're saying that Etienne there's too many backs there.
Okay.
right?
Yes.
I'm saying that there's only one other back, and it's James Robinson, and I'm saying that
Did they draft one this year in the second or third round? Yes.
then James Robinson will be out. Either way, whoever the backup is that I said, whoever's the number 2 back, Pollard will have more carries. So I think Etienne is going to be a bigger part of the Jaguars offense than Zeke is of Cowboys.
Ken Paulman saying a healthy Quan over Zeke. Well, it's
He's
too
a
early
Penn-
to
he's
drink,
also a
Mr.
Penn- he's
Ken
a Penn
Paulman.
State fan. He's a Penn State fan. So full disclosure there, we're going to,
Penn State. Best linebacker in football. How about that?
I mean,
How about that?
I just
yeah, and
think
James
though,
Robinson is hurt.
just
I'm
think
sure
though,
he'll come back. What?
No, they have the Giants have a better offensive coordinator now, so it'll be a little bit better this year with Saquon Barkley.
No, it won't. But
I
anyway,
mean, yeah, now you're just.
anyway.
No more fucking Jason Garrett.
No, you don't get to do any bets, Ben, because you're not
anybody-
reliable
did anybody
to pay
see-
the goddamn
Did
things.
anybody
Knock it off.
did anybody see the stat with Bo Jackson having less career rushing yards than Jim Harbaugh?
That was funny. That was funny. That was
Just
actually
trying
really
to break
funny.
the weird ass.
No, the tension's over. I'm done.
Like Saquon, nobody cares. and
I don't
Zeke,
care about
only
Saquon.
Dave
I don't care about the
cares.
Giants. I don't care about the Giants or their piss poor moronic fan base. No offense to everybody that's in this room right now who is a Giants fan. 1 being Nick, 2 being Madison. And the entire Palumbo family getting involved here with the Giants. And who cares? The Giants suck. They're going
Dave
to
is
suck for years
officially
to
on
come.
tilt. It's time to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck, man. Tim Riley said, I agree with you, Tim. All right, let's get the fuck out of here. This has been a show. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. Madison, the next time, okay, this is a conversation between me and you right now.
And everybody else.
The
that's
next
fucking
time, no,
watching.
because this is something that she only heard before. The next time I say, hey, Madison, second cup of coffee, what are you going to say next time?
No.
Thank you. See, there you go. No second cup of coffee for me next time. So for Sturch and Gooch and Nick and Madison, this has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We will see you guys tomorrow at 11 o'clock with more craziness. Obviously, a lot of the NBA stuff's going to drop tonight, 6 o'clock, tampering period. We're going to find out where these players are going, if they're staying, whatever. More Yankees. The Yankees actually play Astros on a one-game thing tonight at 7 o'clock in Houston. That sucks. What's his face is coming back, by the way. And here's a question for you. Now, remember, Boone has been like Mr. Squeaky Clean this year as far as like not making many mistakes. Chapman apparently will be brought back to the team tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday. Do you insert him where as the manager of the New York Yankees with Clay Holmes doing what he's been doing?
If we need a big leverage, high leverage outs in the 7th, I'm bringing in Chapman.
Okay, so he's not automatically going right into the closer role,
Absolutely
right?
not.
No.
But I'm not. You realize that's happening eventually, right?
The problem with that is it's the money. It's the money. When you spend this kind of money on a guy like him, that's why they do it.
It's going to happen, but it doesn't mean that it'll be there in the playoffs. Like if Chapman's not getting it done, they're going to try and kick the tires on him one more time because of the money. You're right, but it won't matter at the end of the day if he's not performing. They're not going to keep him there.
I don't want to mess this up.
The Yankees are in a good spot. They have actually some wiggle room if they even blow a couple games to find out about Chapman. We have to get him in high leverage situations because if you don't do it and then eventually you're called on to do it, we need him to do it so we know we have to build the confidence in him. So long baseball season, eventually you're going to see Chapman in some big spots. He did look good in his rehab outing. He had 2 strikeouts, so it's like the velocity. I didn't check that, but he did strike 2 guys out. So,
according to some of the masses, Tim Riley says this show should go 2 hours. And then Stevie Mack says at least 90 minutes.
Well,
want the longer content.
Once football season starts, you already
all
know
bets are off,
that's how it's going down because there's going to be so much to cover. But right now, we're just bridging the gap, baby. We're bridging the gap.
Scoop, what's up for Saturday? The Adesanya pay-per-view going down this Saturday as well. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Just mentioned Zeke, and it takes up to 45 minutes to an hour, according to Tim. Big chunk of time. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.
Love the low expectations going.